Please remain standing with me for today's invocation. Almighty God, maker and ruler of the universe, we stand awed before you. We humbly invite you from your throne in glory into our presence. Join us as we remember the heritage of a community engaged in your work and guided by your hand. Join us as we venerate this institution and its commitment to the glorification of your name. Join us as we affirm and encourage each other in the continuation of your holy project through the strengthening and usage of the gifts you have given us, our intellects, our dedication, and our love. And finally, join us as a reminder of an understanding even greater than our own that one day we will join you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Founders Day at Emory Henry College. Today, we celebrate the founding of the college and those individuals and groups whose efforts were instrumental in establishing Southwest Virginia's first institution of higher education. In 1836, the college was founded with the encouragement of the Holston Conference of the Methodist Church and through the generosity of a Methodist clergyman, 2 Methodist laymen, and a Presbyterian philanthropist. By the time the charter was granted 3 years later, the administration building had been constructed, classes had commenced, and the early chapters of the history of the college were being written. The formal observance of Founders Day is a noteworthy event for the Emory Henry College community. It is a day in which we pause and reflect on the history, mission, and core values of this very special place. It is also a day in which we recognize and are inspired by the outstanding accomplishments of others. The college uses this ceremony as an opportunity to present Founders Day citations to a select group of individuals or organizations making significant contributions to our region. Listed in your program are the names of past recipients. I ask that all the former citation recipients who are with us today, please stand so that we can recognize you. All former citation recipients, if you could stand, please. Today, the Alumni Association will present the Distinguished Alumni Awards to a number of graduates and a member of the faculty in recognition of their service to others. In addition, we're very pleased to have with us today members of the Emory Henry Gold Club. These men and women who have celebrated the 50th anniversary of their graduation from the college. Would members of the Gold Club please stand now so that you can be recognized? We're very, very proud of our Gold Club members. Thank you for being here. This is indeed an exciting time at Emory Henry College. This afternoon at 2 p.m., we'll celebrate the opening of our second new residence hall in the last few years, Hickory Hall. When we cut that ribbon today, it is the largest passive house building of any type in the country. It's really a unique building. I hope you'll come there this afternoon. And just to make sure you know about some of the wonderful things in that building, it incorporates an innovative geothermal and heating and cooling system that also provides domestic hot water. That building is modeled to use 50% less energy than Elm Hall, which already is the most efficient building on campus. If you like numbers, it will also save an estimated 86 tons of CO2, I'm looking at Ed Davis as I speak, annually compared to Elm Hall, the equivalency of an amount of carbon sequestered by 64 acres of forest, or the consumption of 181 barrels of oil. So it's a very interesting building, and I hope that you will come at 2 o'clock this afternoon to the building behind the Martin Brock Student Center. I'm sure the sun will be shining and the snowflakes will stop spreading their gold on us, and we'll be able to be out there and cut that ribbon. A wonderful building. And as we celebrate the 176th anniversary, I really think that the folks that conceived of Emory Henry College and that were a part of its founding would be very pleased as we continue to build towards a future that's really wonderful for this college. It is my pleasure today also to welcome Mr. William Pendleton, a native of Wytheville, Virginia, and a member of the Emory Henry College class of 1972. A member of the College Board of Trustees, he certainly serves as the chair of our governing board. We're fortunate to have someone of his caliber serving us in that capacity. Bill has built a career in the Atlanta banking area, and he also has been involved in the real estate community. He founded Primary Capital, a specialized real estate finance firm, in 1994. He also organized Cornerstone Bank, a community business lender. Mr. Pendleton serves as chair of the board of both of those organizations, and in 2006, he was named one of the top 50 entrepreneurs in Atlanta by Catalyst Magazine. We're very, very thankful to have Bill serving in his capacity as chair of the board, and we certainly look forward to hearing from him in a few minutes. So on behalf of the entire Emory Henry College family, I welcome you to the celebration of the founding of our college. Thank you so much for being here, and we next will hear an anthem from our concert choir. But before we do that, let's recognize the concert choir under the direction of Dr. Robert Matthews, who's sitting over there, and the brass quintet also under the direction of Dr. Matt Frederick. They always do such wonderful work in providing music for our event, so let's recognize those groups. Thank you. Let the celebration continue. Thank you.
very pleased to be here today, and I think the choir is as good as it's ever been, so fantastic. Rosalind Reichert was elected as the 20th president of Emory Henry College and assumed office in August of 2006, having previously served as the senior vice president of Meredith College in Raleigh, North Carolina, and dean of sciences and professor of mathematics at Elon College University. Roz, as she is affectionately known, has been an innovative leader, challenging us all through these turbulent economic times to make important investments in our infrastructure during a period of historically low interest rates and a soft construction market to build, build, build. She will be forever known as the building president. Her efforts to renovate Wiley Hall, to renovate and expand Byers Hall, for constructing the first new residential halls on the central campus in over 50 years that will attract new students to Emory Henry College, for constructing one of the best athletic field houses and stadiums in all of Division III, because 40% of our students participate in athletics and cite that as a reason they choose Emory Henry College. For renovating the dining hall, opening a new Wow Cafe and C-store, for recruiting McAdoo's to downtown Emory and helping transport Addison's into a regional attraction. And for finally, following through on a decade-old commitment to build a Center for the Arts so that we can truly celebrate the very best of liberal education and showcase our talented students. In this regard, I hope that everyone will join us on the afternoon of April the 19th as we break ground for the McLaughlin Center for the Arts and celebrate the accomplishments of the past 7 years under the leadership of Roz Reichert. As we go about the task of selecting a new president for Emory Henry College, I have heard over and over again from those who would succeed her what a leader Roz Reichert has been. Her leadership as chair of the Virginia Foundation for Independent Colleges, chair of the Council of Independent Colleges in Virginia, chair of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference, member of the steering committee for the American College and University President's Climate Commitment, member of the executive committee of our regional accrediting agency, SACS, chair of the Virginia SACS delegation, member of the National Division III President's Council, chair of the Small Beginnings and United Way chair for Washington and Russell counties. How does she do it all? I have no idea. And all those things, she has raised the stature of Emory Henry College through her time and devoted commitment, helping put Emory Henry on the national map. We will have more to say about Roz and Don on April the 19th. But for now, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, a grateful Emory Henry community, I invite President Reichert to come forward at this time and deliver our annual Founders Day address. Roz?
Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for that introduction. And good morning again, everyone. Good morning. It's indeed a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to speak with you this morning on this wonderful Founders Day in the 176th anniversary year of the founding of Emory Henry College. Now, I wonder how many of you might be fans of the James Bond movie series. If you are, you've seen the last movie in that series, the one entitled Skyfall. And if you've seen that movie, and even if you haven't, there's one scene that especially enriches all of us, and I hope that you have a chance to see that scene. And in fact, you could see it on YouTube if you'd like. I'm talking about the scene in which Judi Dench, playing the role of M for the 7th and final time, appears before the Britain's Intelligence and Security Committee In this scene, in Skyfall, M is defending her record as the head of MI6. Remember, MI6 is a government agency that supplies the British government with foreign intelligence, kind of like our CIA. And M is seated in this hearing room. I want you to envision it. It's kind of like a courtroom setting, and her questioners are really giving her a hard time because there's been breaches in security. And M, the indomitable boss of 007, don't you love to have that woman be a boss of 007? She's under pressure to explain those breaches in security. And what does she do? What does she do? If you've seen the scene, she stops and she forcefully quotes a few lines from a poem. The poem she quotes from is the poem entitled Ulysses by Tennyson. Many of you know this poem, so please envision M as she sits before her questioners and she proudly states, "Though much is taken, much abides, and though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield." Many of you know I love poetry, and I've used poetry many, many times with you to illustrate my thinking on a variety of issues. And in fact, I used lines from this exact poem in our first few years at Emory and Henry. For example, I used the lines, "I am a part of all whom I have met, yet all experiences is an arch wherethrough gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades forever and forever when I moved." I used those lines in my first days here at Emory and Henry when I introduced myself to you and I talked about the journey that we were beginning together and how that journey is every bit as important as the destination. And from this same poem, I used the lines, "Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world," when we were talking about a bold, new strategic plan. And from this same poem, I used the lines that M used. The very same lines. I said to you, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield, when we were going over some of those bumpy times back in 2008 and 2009. This wonderful poem highlighted in Skyfall is about a hero, the hero Ulysses, Odysseus. I know you all know about that hero because you've all read the Odyssey, something that I know you've read. In this particular poem, Ulysses is returned home to Ithaca after those wonderful voyages, those wonderful and challenging voyages after the Trojan Wars. And he's struggling in this poem. Ulysses is struggling. He's struggling with the relative inactivity at home after his many adventures. And he describes his desire to keep sailing, to return to the active in what he considers the meaningful life, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield, he pledges. Ulysses believed, I think, that the gift of life and the talents we are given are sacred trusts that we must use to the fullest and to the end of our days. Sacred trusts. Life is a sacred trust for all of us. Listen to your life. This is the central theme of the writer and theologian Frederick Buechner, who wrote the following: "Listen to your life, see it for the fathomless mystery that it is, in the boredom and pain of it, no less than the excitement and gladness. Touch, test, smell your way to the holy hidden heart of it, because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments, and life itself is grace." Life is a sacred trust. And I ask all of you today, all of you, to think about your sacred trusts. What do you hold as sacred? Not necessarily in a religious sense, although it might be, but in the sense of what comes to your mind as having true and everlasting value, even in the midst of the demands and stresses of your life. What have your families, your communities, your world given to you that you consider to be sacred trusts? And how well do you nurture and support those sacred trusts that you have been given? To our students, and I know you're out there all around me, and I always go to you first because you are the most important to me on this campus. To our students, what sacred trusts come to your minds? Connections with your family, support for your friends, making the most of your college years, making a difference in the world through your service? What are the trusts that you live with each day that help to shape your thoughts and your actions? And let me tell you a little story. When I was a young girl, still living at home, it was always my father who awakened my sister and me to get ready for school. Now, I must tell you, at that time, I was not a morning person. My sister, my wonderful sister Marilyn, she's 2 years older than I, she was always ready to go. She embraced the morning. She was a morning person. Not me. Every morning I sat grumpily, and I mean grumpily, at that breakfast table. Now my father, he would reach out, put his hand under my chin, lift it up so that I had to look into his eyes. My wonderful father, he was a skilled craftsman, completed high school through the 11th grade, and he would smile at me, had a twinkle in his eye, and this is what he'd say to me. He'd say, "Remember, Ro, that's who I am. You can do anything you set your mind to do." He said that to me almost every day of my life. Remember, you can do anything you set your mind to do. How wise he was to instill that confidence in me. How I now look back to those days and understand how important those words were to my life. I have my father to thank for all the good things I've had the strength as well as the opportunity to accomplish. He gave me the confidence to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. And for you, our students, whether or not you've had a parent or a sibling or a teacher or a friend say these words to you, let me say them to you now. Remember, you can do anything you set your mind to do. Your students here at Emory Henry, our faculty know you, I know you, and you can do anything you set your mind to do. We know that. Sacred trusts. To our faculty and staff, what sacred trusts come to your minds? No doubt, your work as a teacher or a mentor is an important sacred trust. Being a teacher or a mentor is a heavy responsibility. It's a privilege not to be taken lightly. Each day when you work with students, you never know what you will say or do that will have a lasting impression on them. When you, our faculty and staff, work daily with students in your classroom and your offices, you can't help but inspire our students and impact their future. And this is a sacred trust. This is a sacred trust we're given as teachers and mentors. The strength of a teacher or mentor does not lie in transmitting information. It does not lie in advocating a position or a particular viewpoint. The power of a teacher or a mentor lies in the ability to motivate students, to inspire them, to show them a direction, to help them make their own lives better. The obligation of a teacher or a mentor is to treat each student as a valuable human who we know can impact the future. And it's our responsibility to help her or him learn to love to learn, help shape their character, help instill high principles, and above all, to set a positive example. Let me tell you another story. My mother, she left high school in 10th grade because she had to work to help support her family. But she was an avid reader, and she believed that education was the key to future success in life. And I can still see her sitting in her chair in the living room with a book in her hand. I can still see her. She told great stories to me, to my sister, my brother, and my children. My sons are in their 30s. And they believe that she is the greatest grandmother in the whole world. I wish I could be so good. They think that even now. more so even now as she nears her 100th birthday, and they better understand what they learned from her. She taught us all that family connections are a sacred trust and that family traditions must be respected, cherished, and carried on. And as she sat in that chair with her book, she would say to us, read as many books as you can and the world will open before you. Now, she was a teacher and a mentor of the highest order, faculty and staff. So all of our faculty and staff, remember your important role as a teacher and mentor to our students and how this sacred trust must be fostered, cherished, and enriched. Ulysses said, I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experiences is an arch wherethrough gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. Read as many books as you can, my mother said, and the world will open before you. To our alumni, many of you out there, what sacred trusts come to your minds? Yes, many of you are parents and teachers and mentors, and surely you have those responsibilities as sacred trusts. However, your special roles as alumni of this college bring another important sacred trust to your portfolios, the sacred trust of caring for and sustaining your alma mater, the sacred trust to maintain and enhance the qualities of this special place, the sacred trust given to you by the generations of alumni who have built and supported this place, this special place of promise. So let's talk about your alma mater, Emory Henry College. We should be talking about Emory Henry today. It is Founders Day. And as I said earlier, it's a time we set aside each year to pause and honor those who came before us, those who have blazed the trails upon which we have built this wonderful college, today's place of promise. And there's so many wonderful stories that we could share about our founders and about the folks that blazed these trails. Today I want to talk with you about one person, and that person is the first president of Emory Henry College, Charles Collins. Those of you who live in Collins House, of course, Collins House is named for our first president, Dr. Charles Collins. Now, I have for you a description of President Collins that was provided by a student at that time. So let me read you that so that you can become acquainted with him a little bit. He was described by this student as a man of cool, philosophical temperament. His knowledge was exact and thorough. His language chaste and correct, not ornate. He was fluent, but not verbose. That's how a student described President Collins. He was a fine lecturer. His speaking ability was well known. And you may not know this, but he was celebrated in a recent book by a man by the name of Andrew Delbanco. This gentleman, Dr. Delbanco, is a teacher, author, and nationally known speaker about the importance of the liberal arts in our students' education. And I'm pleased to say that Dr. Delbanco mentions Emory and Henry College in every single speech and presentation that he makes all across this country. And I've heard him give his speech, and he does that because of the inspiration that President Collins provided for the students at Emory and Henry College. So let me tell you that story briefly. 1848 is when this happened. It was Dr. Collins' 10th year as president. And guess what, folks? There was a controversy brewing. A controversy between the Methodists and the Presbyterians. I can't imagine a controversy of that type. In the 1840s, it was brewing and it was getting hotter as time went on. And there was a well-known antagonist of the Methodist Church, a gentleman by the name of Reverend Frederick A. Ross, who was a Presbyterian minister. And Reverend Ross challenged President Collins to a theological debate in the form of a series of sermons that was held, guess where, folks? At the nearby Glade Presbyterian Church. Now, the sermons drew the interest of students at Emory and Henry, and they actually petitioned their faculty to be able to go to the debates and miss some of their classes. because they were so interested in what President Collins might say. And on May 21, 1848, President Collins responded to the attacks by Reverend Ross with a sermon lasting approximately 7 hours and in front of 2,000 people there in Glade Presbyterian Church. Well, I promise this will not be 7 hours. This story about the sermon, by the way, is told in George Stevenson's book, Increase in Excellence. You can read that story in his book. So what does this sermon, this 7-hour sermon in 1848, have to do with Dr. Delbanco, the gentleman that talks about President Collins all the time? And again, Dr. Delbanco is a current-day, nationally known speaker. Well, let me read to you what Dr. Delbanco says about this event. This is what Dr. Delbanco has written. In my ramblings through various college archives, I came across a diary kept by a student at a small Methodist college, Emory and Henry College, in Southwest Virginia. He writes, on an evening in the 1840s, after attending a lecture, really a sermon, by the college president that left this student troubled and apprehensive, this student made the following entry in his journal. The student wrote, "Oh, that the Lord would show me how to think and how to choose." That's what the student wrote. And Dr. Delbanco says that sentence, that one sentence, "Oh, that the Lord would show me how to think and how to choose," it kind of has an archaic sound, but I can't imagine a better formulation then or now of what a college should be: an aid to reflection, a place and process whereby young people take stock of their talents and passions and begin to sort out their lives in a way true to themselves and responsible to others. So, alumni, Dr. Delbanco repeats this story about your alma mater in every lecture, every presentation he makes. He says his wife makes him do it, because of what this student experienced in the 1840s. And what your alma mater does is the truest, most pure form of what a college education should be. You, our alumni, have had the opportunity to partake of this education, and you have the sacred trust of sustaining Emory Henry College. You, above all, with many, many folks with you, have this important sacred trust. So here we are together on Founders Day in my last year as president of Emory Henry College, and I'm sure you can imagine I'm reflecting more each day on the sacred trusts that have guided me and sustained me. The greatest honor I have ever received is the honor of being president of Emory Henry College. And I've done my very best to understand that this leadership role is a sacred trust that I must preserve. And as president, I believe that I have a responsibility to every single individual connected to Emory Henry College, as well as to the institution as a whole. And for you, the individuals out there, I've tried to provide opportunities, challenges, and support. Opportunities for you to make a difference here and across the world. Challenges to stretch you in ways that help you to become stronger. And support so that you are celebrated and so that you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. I know that I have not always been as successful as I'd like to be. However, I have felt that responsibility from my very first days here at Emory Henry. And for the institution as a whole, I've tried to foster collaborative processes where decisions are made through information provided by all constituent groups, a place where the tension between tradition and transformation, where that tension is as evenly balanced as possible. I've tried to foster a community with integrity, discipline, and pride, a place where the vision is compelling, goals are set, and people are held accountable for meeting them. A place where the earth, with all her bounty and fragility, is honored and respected. A place where people believe that they can do whatever they set their mind to do, and they succeed. Once again, I've not always done this as well as I would like to have done. However, it has been my most significant sacred trust. So students, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends, Ulysses said, "I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly." My father said, "You can do anything you set your mind to do." My mother said, "Read as many books as you can and the world will open before you." Life is indeed a sacred trust. Frederick Buechner wrote, "Listen to your life. All moments are key moments, and life itself is grace." Listen to your life. Listen. Listen. What do you hear? Thank you.
Today, on the 176th anniversary of the founding of Emory Henry College, this college has the privilege of honoring Dr. Rachel Folks, Executive Director of the Southwest Higher Education Center. Dr. Folks holds a doctorate in educational administration from the University of Virginia. Prior to her present position, she served as Supervisor of Special Education in Washington County Schools, and after that successful tenure, State Coordinator of Continuing Education Programs for the University of Virginia. Rachel is the proud mother of 2 children, Merle and John, and 2 grandchildren, and I certainly understand that pride with grandchildren. Dr. Folks is on Governor McDonald's Commission on Higher Education Reform, Innovation and Investment, the Southwest Virginia Cultural Heritage Commission, the Virginia Creeper Trail Advisory Board, and the Nice Wonder Children's Hospital Executive Council. In 1991, Rachel worked with Southwest Virginia legislators in this area, and particularly Delegate Joe Johnson. And I believe Delegate Johnson is here today. And he created the Southwest Higher Education Center, he and his fellow legislators. And I know that he's proud that Emory Henry is honoring Rachel Folks today because she provided the leadership for what he gave birth to with his hard work and convincing General Assembly members that Southwest Virginia needed a higher education facility. Rachel became the first executive director of the Southwest Higher Education Center in 1992. Currently, 10 colleges and universities, including Emory Henry, offer 90 undergraduate and graduate degree programs at the Higher Education Center. Since 1992, the Higher Education Center has provided conference and classroom space to more than 1,400 different businesses, associations, nonprofit groups, and others. Over 1,200 events are held at the center annually. Just imagine what these accomplishments have meant to Southwest Virginia. These wonderful accomplishments happened in large part because of the leadership of Dr. Rachel Folks. Dr. Folks has provided the leadership that has enabled the Higher Education Center to provide the foundation for success for so many Southwest Virginia citizens through her 21 years as Executive Director. Let me give you just a few examples. The migrant worker who earned her GED in Washington County, then completed a degree at the community college, and earned a BA degree from the Higher Education Center through one of its college partners. A mother of 2 young children whose husband was killed in active duty earned a BA degree with tuition paid by Veterans Benefits. Numerous adults who lost their jobs due to plant closures have earned a community college degree and then a bachelor's degree at the Higher Education Center funded through the Federal Trade Act. And there are so many more who have benefited. Several faculty members at Emory Henry have worked closely with Rachel over the years. I wish to quote one. Rachel is the epitome of professionalism, but also the very best of deep South charm. She's from Mississippi. She has built the best regional higher education center in the Commonwealth. Furthermore, she has been a genius at finding the resources to continue the remarkable growth of the higher education center through periods of national economic recession. All of us with commitments and concerns for education owe her our deepest gratitude. So said Dr. Jack Roper. The Southwest Higher Education Center has become the gold plate for establishing higher education centers in Virginia. Several centers in Virginia are based on Dr. Folk's work in establishing what we have here today. Let me reflect on the beginning of the center. I was on the first board of trustees. We met often, we talked a lot. No building, no staff, no programs, and frankly, we weren't making much progress. And then a young lady by the name of Rachel Folks was hired. Today, beautiful building, 10 colleges and university partnerships, offering over 90 undergraduate and graduate degrees. Over 1,200 businesses and community events are held at the Higher Education Center annually. For these reasons, Emory Henry awards this citation to Dr. Rachel Folks in recognition of her extraordinary leadership in providing higher educational opportunities to the citizens of Southwest Virginia. Given on March the 21st, 2013, on the occasion of the 176th anniversary of the founding of Emory Henry College.
Good afternoon. It is afternoon now. Today, Emory Henry College has the privilege of honoring a son of Southwestern Virginia, a person many of us call friend, and a man who has been a lifelong community servant, Henderson P. Graham. And I will say, a man who ties his own bow ties. A native of Lee County, Virginia, and a veteran of the United States Navy, Dr. Graham is a graduate of Lincoln Memorial University and the Medical College of Virginia. He began the practice of dentistry in Marion, Virginia in 1955 and continued in that role until his retirement in 1991. Reflecting on his 36-year career, Dr. Graham said, "I like people, especially the people of this area. I enjoy becoming involved with them, whether in my chosen field or in community service." Indeed, Dr. Graham's list of community activities, many of which are listed in your program, attest to his love of service and his dedication to the people of this region. A notable achievement among Dr. Graham's activities is his involvement in a community-wide effort in the early 1960s to raise funds to construct the first modern hospital in Smith County. This hospital served the community for more than 40 years until it was replaced in 2012 with a facility designed to meet today's needs. Given his long-standing association with the hospital, Dr. Graham was chosen to serve as the chairman of the Smith County Hospital Reuse Committee. Through his work on this committee and by virtue of his years of leadership in the field of medicine, Dr. Graham had a vision that the hospital property could be converted into a center for healthcare education. Dr. Graham approached President Roz Reichert and initiated a conversation concerning a possible partnership with Emory Henry College. As a result of this conversation, President Reichert and college leaders began a process which has resulted in the creation of a Doctor of Physical Therapy graduate program that will be located on the new Emory Henry campus, where? On the former site of the Smith County Community Hospital. Opening its doors next year, the Emory Henry DPT program will prepare competent, caring, knowledgeable physical therapists who will work with patients who have impairments, limitations, or disabilities, and will help them to achieve their highest functional outcomes. Moreover, these graduates will reflect the liberal arts education that they receive at Emory Henry College, a tradition that we believe strong. We will empower them to be thinkers, critical, to meet the challenges of today's ever-changing healthcare environment. Although he has spearheaded this most recent effort, Dr. Graham really is no stranger or newcomer to Emory Henry College. Because of his deep interest in higher education, he joined the Emory Henry College Board of Visitors in 1995 and served as the board's vice president. Dr. Graham's family ties are quite deep. His father attended Emory Henry in the early 20th century, and his son Patton graduated from Emory Henry in 1981. Two daughters-in-law were also Emory Henry graduates. And to add to his blue and gold pedigree, Dr. Graham's father-in-law was a former chairman of the Emory Henry College Board of Trustees. His love for this place is long and true. Dr. Graham is joined today by his wife Joette, their sons John, Patton, and Tom, and daughter-in-law Liz. On behalf of the college, I extend a warm welcome to all the family members. Therefore, it is with much pride and affection that Emory Henry College awards this Founders Day citation to Dr. Henderson P. Graham in recognition of his extraordinary leadership to establish a Center for Medical Education in Marion, Virginia, given from the halls of Emory Henry College March 21, 2013 on the occasion of the 176th anniversary of the founding of the college.
When Emory Henry College established its Founders Day celebration last year, we focused upon the early forces behind the initiation of Emory Henry College. Fittingly, we recognize the preeminent role of the Holston Conference of the United Methodist Church in the germination and ongoing sustenance of the college. Today, we recognize another force, Glade Spring Presbyterian Church, for Presbyterians, too, had a significant role in promoting the establishment of Emory Henry College, as we have already heard. In 1836, when the college was founded, Glade Spring Presbyterian, or Old Glade as it is affectionately called, was already 64 years old, having been established in 1772 at Ebbing Spring, 3 miles south of its present location. In 1792, the congregation relocated to a glade amidst a great forest that was situated on the stage road, which we now call Lee Highway in Glade Spring. While there were many Presbyterians who played a role in the founding of the college, two stand out among those at Old Glade. The first was a son of the church named William Byers. Born in 1776, Colonel Byers was one of the 4 co-founders of Emory Henry College. As the only Presbyterian in the bunch, he had risen to a position of wealth and affluence in Washington County. With an estate just a half a mile down to the west on the stage road, he was a wealthy planter and a member of the Virginia House of Delegates. His contribution of $600 was the single largest amount subscribed to the establishment of the college. But his contributions did not stop there, for he designed some of the earliest buildings on the fledgling campus. We honor his founding influence today with the name of our oldest academic building, Byers Hall. The other Glade Spring Presbyterian of great influence was the Reverend Edward Crawford, the 3rd pastor of Old Glade, who owned the land that the 4 founders purchased to start the college on. It was upon his land, his 500 acres, that Emory Henry College was built. Though the new college would be resolutely Methodist in character, its Presbyterian influences were predestined and of considerable financial merit. Altogether, members of Old Glade Church contributed almost $5,000 to the enterprise of starting a college at Emory. In the ensuing years, Old Glade played a role in calming the waters of discord between Presbyterians and Methodists as they competed for dominion in the Holston Valley. Before and even after the advent of the public normal schools, colleges, and universities, a great many of Old Glade's memberships relied upon the college's convenient location and increasing academic excellence as the source of their own higher education. Along with the college, Old Glade shares a zeal for ecumenical community service. Most recently, the church joined the college and many others in helping the Glade Spring community recover from the tornado crisis in the spring of 2011. They opened their new fellowship hall to the Washington County Sheriff's Office Special Auxiliary as a staging area for volunteers and recovery center for victims. Church members volunteered by making and serving food, sorting donations of everything from clothing to chainsaws, assisting victims by praying, gathering supplies, and just listening to their stories. Also, Old Glade members served on the Washington County Long-Term Recovery Group and provided funds to help families recover from the tornado damage. Others served on boards and provided funds for Habitat for Humanity, including the hosting of out-of-town volunteers who were working on a Habitat house and on houses for tornado victims. Church members regularly volunteer at Glade Spring Food Bank and Ecumenical Faith in Action, as well as volunteer with Meadowview Methodist Church to provide Thanksgiving luncheon for the community. Routinely, the church provides assistance for living expenses, a Christmas meal and gifts for families in crisis, and donates funds for children to attend the Washington County Department of Social Services summer camp. It collaborates with Meadowview United Methodist Church in ministry to local middle and high school youth. Long after being pivotal in the founding of Emory Henry, Glade Spring Presbyterian Church continues to devote its energy to helping others and making a difference in the community to the glory of God. For these reasons, Emory Henry College awards this citation to Glade Spring Presbyterian Church, given from the halls of Emory Henry College, March 21st, 2013, on the occasion of the 176th anniversary of the founding of the college.
Good afternoon. It is my distinct privilege to present this year's Distinguished Alumni Awards on behalf of the Emory Henry Alumni Association. Before we entered the sanctuary this morning, Dr. Mitchell was telling me about a particular course that she loves to teach. And so, Felicia Mitchell, I resist the urge to speak this laud as haiku. Dr. Mitchell has been a revered member of the Emory Henry English Department since 1987. She has earned a reputation as someone who is willing to work hard on academic committees that are important to the work of the college, and is also incredibly prolific at creating original works of poetry and scholarly writing. She has published professional pieces in journals, has contributed book chapters, and has constructed critical reviews. She is widely known for her own works of poetry and has done poetry readings across the Southeast. She has also compiled works of poetry by others in books like Words and Quilts, a collection of poetry about quilts. And another compilation called Her Words is described as a groundbreaking collection of poems by women in Appalachia. She is known to be compassionate and caring, and as someone who takes a positive approach in assessing the skills and potential of young writers. She finds time to encourage the talents of others and has served as a judge and coordinator for area contests like the Cultural Arts Contest at Patrick Henry High School, the Virginia Highlands Literary Festival, and the Sherwood Anderson Short Story Contest. Dr. Mitchell is a gentle soul with a fierce love of words and a knack for calling forth the best from other lovers of language. Because of honor, we are pleased to present the James A. Davis Faculty Award to Dr. Felicia Mitchell. In 2010, the Roanoke magazine listed Jay Webb as the Valley's most accurate meteorologist. Jay's son, Parker, however, recently explained that he had announced to all his friends at school that it was going to snow. If the snow didn't come, he'd simply tell his friends that his dad was wrong again. Such are the perils of being a weatherman. But as WDBJ's face of the weekend weather, Jay's smile and charm have combined with his weather skills to make people feel like he is a rather famous member of their own family. Frankly, it's difficult to find anyone in the Roanoke Valley who doesn't feel like they know Jay. He has won seals of approval from the American Meteorological Society and the National Weather Association. He was named Employee of the Year at WHSV and was inducted into the President's Club at WDBJ. But when it comes to awards, it's hard to beat that gold statue on his desk that lets the world know that in 2008, he won television's coveted Emmy Award for Outstanding Program Achievement. Even though he is highly sought out as a public speaker in his community, he still finds time for his alma mater, and recently taped a tour of the WDBJ weather studios to be shown during our summer alumni college. His joy at receiving an award named for Al Mitchell is perhaps further proof that Jay is celebrity second and member of the ENH family first. And I would be remiss, speaking of Mr. Mitchell, if I didn't share with you that Jay and I both are brothers of Beta Lambda Zeta, and despite his height over me, is actually my little brother in Beta Lambda Zeta. Because of honor, we are proud to award the A.L. Mitchell Young Alumnus Award to Jay Webb. Each summer, the Emory Henry Alumni Association sponsors a summer alumni college called More Than a Vacation. The name was born of the notion that the event is as fun as a vacation, but it's more than that, since you're likely to learn something, like it or not. The event is getting ready to celebrate its 20th anniversary, and it only succeeds because of the participants who join in and because of the volunteers to make sure it is a rich experience. 3 of those volunteers are being honored today. Ellis Sasser, Betsy Hulcher, and Ruth Ann Davis have served as the program chairs for this event for 6 years. They've offered up fresh ideas, patiently vetted even the craziest of suggestions, organized goodie bags, welcomed guests, and handled questions and issues throughout an event filled with enthusiastic alumni. They've added special touches that only this dynamic trio can manage. Ellis lends her special skills with people to make participants feel welcome. Betsy once presented a program on her grandmother's collection of antique quilts. And Ruth Ann has been known to pass out lyrics and lead songs on the bus. And they've all learned to love bluegrass music for good of the cause. Each of these women is accomplished in her own right, and all 3 have served as community leaders and volunteers through Federated Women's Clubs, professional education organizations, community choral groups, and arts organizations. All 3 served as teachers in the Henrico County school system, and each one has received decoration and commendation for outstanding work in the classroom. They are the type of volunteers every organization hopes for: bright, clever, and energetic. But most aren't fortunate enough to land even one soul with so much to offer, much less 3. These women are passing the baton to other volunteers this year, but it is no exaggeration to say that More Than a Vacation is a stronger, better, more memorable event because of their leadership, their passion, and their creative guidance. Because of honor, we are pleased to award the Fred Self-Service to E&H Award to Betsy Hulcher, Ruth Ann Davis, and Ellis Sasser. Ben Jennings began bringing arts and cultural events to Southwest Virginia while still a student. He was part of the committee that brought Pete Seeger to E&H for an Emphasis event. Ever since that success, it seems he has made providing arts opportunities a personal mission. As a volunteer for the Virginia Highlands Festival, he has commissioned the festival's signature piece of art, expanded the performing arts events, prompted the expansion of the Natural Resources Committee, brought in international dance groups, and has taken ad sales from $5,000 to as much as $50,000. He turned a little monthly foreign film series into a weekly arts array program of lectures, movies, and concerts, which is now enjoyed by countless residents of this region. He helped shepherd the William King Museum during a time of transition. He was a founder of A Magazine, which provides information about local artists and area art events. He serves the Washington County Public Library by lining up writers as speakers, including the likes of Lee Smith, Silas House, and Clyde Edgerton. His countless hours of volunteer service have been recognized and honored by area tourism organizations and leadership of Abingdon. In fact, in 2012, he was named as one of the very first recipients of the Arthur Campbell Community Service Award in recognition of his extraordinary contributions. Today, we are proud that his alma mater can recognize him as the 2013 recipient of the Emory Henry Distinguished Achievement Award. Becky Kurtz was the kind of student her classmates wished to be: intelligent, passionate, participating in class discussion, and doing the readings for class. She was chosen to be the outstanding senior in her class, and no one has been surprised at what an outstanding difference she is making in the world. After finishing at Columbia Law School, she served the City of New York Law Department, representing agencies in litigation. She followed that up with a move to Georgia, where she worked as an elder law attorney for the Atlanta Legal Aid Society's Senior Citizens Law Project. And from 1994 until 2010, she served as the state long-term care ombudsman for the state of Georgia. Her work there involved representing the interests of seniors, especially low-income seniors, and individuals living in long-term care facilities. She worked with coalitions and state legislators to go before the Georgia General Assembly regarding matters of improved Medicaid benefits for low-income residents of nursing homes, improved consumer protections in assisted living and personal care homes. She helped to strengthen laws related to elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation, and she assisted with modernizing end-of-life decision-making laws. In 2010, she was tapped by the Obama administration to serve in the Department of Health and Human Services. She is currently serving as the director of the Office of Long-Term Care Ombudsman's Programs, housed within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. She oversees administration of federal grants to states for long-term care ombudsman programs, and she works on federal policies that impact residents in long-term care facilities. She also serves on national collaboratives to improve nursing home quality, and she works to implement elder justice initiatives. Consider the standards that Emory Henry sets for its students. Recall the words of our motto, increase in excellence. Remember the call for social justice echoed by professors like Steve Fisher. And know now that Becky Kurtz is one graduate who is answering that call to right the wrongs and to fight the good fight. Because of honor, we are proud to present the Carl and Ruth Looney Humanitarian Award to Becky Kurtz.
But we do have one more exciting announcement to make before we end with our benedictions and our recessional. If you have not seen some information in the Chronicle of Higher Education, we actually were in the news last night, and I've gotten emails from several folks who basically saw something about our new logos, and it was a spoof. If you think we have a duck for our logo, sorry, that's not it. If you think it's a locomotive, sorry, that's not it. You need to check that out. If you'd like to check it out, it's online at chronicle.com. But anyway, we always try to add an exciting announcement to our convocations. Last year, we unveiled a new college anthem and new statues for our namesakes as part of the 175th anniversary. And 2 years ago, you may remember, we unveiled a new portrait of Patrick Henry that was donated to the college. This year, we're pleased to unveil new institutional logos. The need for a new logo became evident over the last few years as we sought to refresh our website and do a better job of promoting the Emory Henry brand. We heard from countless individuals who said they liked our current logo, the E&H logo, but outside of this area they didn't know what it was. They kept saying, what is E&H? Since we are completing a positioning and branding study for the college, we knew that the natural culmination of the work should be the development of a new logo. So the need was clear, the timing was perfect for the development of a new institutional logo, and that's what we worked on very hard this year. I appreciate the work of lots of different individuals who've been involved, especially Jamie Smith, our wonderful designer, and our Associate Director of Public Relations, as well as Dirk Moore, who's our Director of Public Relations. I know that many of you were involved in this process, and you certainly provided feedback on earlier versions, like the duck and the locomotive. And the new logos, by the way, will be phased in as we replace. So if you've got the current logo on some T-shirts, you can certainly continue to wear that. But as we get new stationery, new letterhead, and as we get new materials in the bookstore, we will be using the new logos. We believe that the new logos are more consistent in the representation of our core messages. They're more understandable to the public, and ultimately a better description. As we unveil them, which we're going to do in a minute, I want you to look for some things. If you will look at the traditional style of the lettering, you'll see that that represents an ongoing commitment to our core values, while the movement within the lettering and the upward swing of the ampersand reflects forward progress, always balancing tradition with transformation. Our commitment to excellence is supported by our long history, which you'll see in the founding year, 1836, that's in the institutional logo, and our high academic standards and our incredible faculty is represented by the image of a column, which you also will see in our institutional logo. Now, our commitment to service, and we are very committed to service through our current students as well as our wonderful alumni. You will see that represented in this institutional logo by a shield, as it symbolizes a battle line against the challenges to individuals and communities in our world. I also want you to know that you're invited to have a static cling image of our new logo. As you leave today, you're going to have something to take with you. I understand that the Merck already has some T-shirts with a new image if you want to run over there. I also would want you to know that you don't have to run up here to see these after we unveil them, because they're also in the dining hall if you're heading down there, and you'll get to see them up close and personal. So with that in mind, those who are unveiling the logos, would you please come forward and unveil our new logos? Now, I'm not sure, I can't see them from here, but over here is this your institutional logo or our athletic logo? So it's from this side. This is our institutional logo. This is what replaces the E and H, which was our prominent logo. This is what we will use most often, our institutional logo. The one in the middle, thank you. So, institutional logo. And you see, of course, the athletic mascot as well. So a little bit hard to see, but we're excited about it. And as I said, you can certainly take a look at them in the dining hall. So there you have it, another exciting announcement. And it's time now, if you would stand, we're going to have our benedictions as well as our recessional. So please stand for the benediction.
As you go from this place today, may you go with the knowledge of God's presence in your lives and the role that God has played in making Emory and Henry such a fine institution. Represent it well, whether you've been a part of this family for over 50 years or you are a first-year student. Take the Emory and Henry spirit with you. It has been entrusted to you. Nurture it, share it, in order to make the world a more excellent place. As you go from this place today, may you go in peace.